Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Gentech PC product showcase. Today we're going to be showcasing and doing a full review on the Asus G751. This is a newly updated model that is paired with the Nvidia GTX980 mobile video card. In a nutshell, what you're looking at with the G751 is going to be a 17-inch form factor high-end gaming laptop that's relatively thin and light, that is suitable for gaming on the go or a full desktop replacement. We'll start our tour of the G751 with a simple unboxing so you can see what to expect when you order this unit and get it brand new in the box. So as you open your brand new box, the very first thing you're going to see is the laptop itself is situated on the top, covered in a protective cloth so it doesn't get scratched during shipping. Once you remove that cloth covering, you can see the laptop itself and get an idea of the form factor and its looks. And we'll set that aside for a more detailed view later, and let's dig into the rest of the box. In the center compartment, we're going to have our product manual, warranty information, and some small accessories like Velcro straps. And the right-hand compartment contains our AC to DC power adapter. With a rating of 19.5 volts and 11.8 amps, that gives you an approximate wattage of 230 watts that this provides to the laptop for charging and when you're running off of mains power. Now it's time for an up-close view of the unit itself. As you can see, now that we have the LCD lid open, you can see the screen is a matte type display, so it's non-glossy and won't have bad reflections of your interior lighting. Also, an important fact about the screen is that it's a IPS panel, which is a higher quality panel type than the traditional TN panel that you find on most other laptops. You'll notice the chiclet style keyboard, and on that keyboard there's highlights for the WSAD keys that you would use for gaming, just further signifying that this is a gaming laptop. The overall form factor of the laptop is very thin, so it's easy to pack into a bag, and you'll see that the styling is very similar to all the previous G70 series laptops that have been released. Now we're going to jump over into the system BIOS for a really quick tour to show you all the different tabs and options you have available here. Also a first look at some of the hardware that's inside of the unit. Some of the key aspects that we can take notice of while looking through the BIOS is that we do have Intel virtualization technology. This will let us run virtual machines on our operating system, and that can be very useful for both productivity and even for gaming. Also, we have a full-blown Intel Thunderbolt chip. Many laptops have mini display port without the Thunderbolt feature, but this is a full-blown Thunderbolt port, so you get both the mini display port and data transfer features. Now it's time for us to zoom in and show you the actual measurements of the unit. With a tape measure, we can see the rear of the unit comes to about 2 inches to the top, while the front part of the laptop comes to about 1 inch to the top. This is including the actual standoffs holding the laptop up off of the table, and the wedge shape gives you a more comfortable typing posture than a flat laptop would. Next is to explore the perimeter of the laptop to show you all of your connectivity options. The front side of the laptop is blank other than your status LEDs. Over on the right hand side, you're greeted by three 3.5mm audio connections, one for headphone, one for microphone, and one for line in. Then we have two USB 3.0 ports, our Thunderbolt port, HDMI 1.4, RJ45 for our local networking, DB15 for VGA, and then lastly we have the DC power port for charging the laptop and running off of mains. As we get around to the rear of the unit, we don't have any connections back here. We have a flush sensor area and the large left and right exhaust vents that are responsible for ventilating and cooling the system. On the back of the LCD lid itself, we have the Asus logo, and right below it is the Republic of Gamers logo. And now getting around to the final side, on the left we have our Kingston lock port, two more USB 3.0 ports, and we have our optical drive. In this case we have a Blu-ray reader and writer. Lastly, conveniently placed near the front left side, we have the multi-card reader, and it can read SD cards, MMC, or MS. Now we take our attention to the top part of the laptop where our touchpad and keyboard are located. You can already see with the lights on this is a backlit keyboard, but once you turn off the lights, the illumination comes through much more cleanly. As you can see, the color scheme is a reddish orange. All the keys are very easy to see in the dark. You do see we have a full keyboard layout including the number pad. Performance-wise, the first benchmark that we're going to check is PC Mark 8, and we were able to score 3,857 with this unit. Now in up close for a very good look at the keyboard, we'll see the low profile chiclet style keys. Earlier we mentioned the WSAD keys are sticking out different than the rest because of a gaming theme. Also hidden away up top we have even more keys for the gamers. We have a key that is instant record. It's a hotkey that's going to launch the Asus program so you can record your gameplay. And located right next to that one, we even have a dedicated button to launch Steam. As of right now, Steam is not going to launch properly for us since we don't have an internet connection, but this just gives you a quick and easy way to launch Steam so you can jump right into your gameplay. Now for the touchpad, this is a very generously sized touchpad, and it has individual left and right click buttons that are nice and easy to press. This is important for navigating the computer and playing games if you're not using a mouse, so it's nice to see that we have an easily accessible touchpad. On the top side of the screen, we're going to have our integrated webcam and microphones for doing voice over IP or in-game chat. And the last feature to show you before we jump into our benchmarks is going to be the Illuminated Republic of Gamers logo on the back of the screen. This one doesn't show through too well with the lights on, but once you have the lights turned off, it's quite easy to see it. Now into the system to look at our hardware. Here is Device Manager. We see our Nvidia GTX980 Mobile as our video card. We have Intel for our wireless. We have Realtek for our wired. And here we have Intel Core i7 4710HQ for our CPU. Here is the LG panel. This is our monitor. And now we've arrived at our gaming benchmarks section. Starting off with 3D Mark 11, we have a performance score of 11,237. Just below that we have the full GPU-Z information on the video card. And here we have all of our thermal temperatures that we recorded during that benchmark. Our CPU reached mid 70 degrees Celsius and our GPU only reached 69 degrees Celsius. So very good temperatures for both CPU and GPU. The next benchmark is going to be Firestrike, and for that we have a score of 8,469. As soon as the score gets done validating, here is all of our detailed information on that benchmark. Feel free to pause the video if you need to take a closer look at any of these so you can take a good look at them as we pass over. We have all of the system specifications here and of course the graphs up above. And for our disk performance, we have Crystal Disk Mark, and here is showing the speeds you can expect for the SSD that holds the operating system. The next benchmark we have for you is going to be the sound benchmark. This is going to be able to show you how loud the system is in normal operation and under high intensity situations like a performance benchmark. All of these tests are done to show a worst case situation where we have the meter right next to the exhaust of the laptop in a completely quiet room. But it's still a good way to give you a baseline benchmark of how loud the system is so you can easily compare it to other systems that we reviewed with the same testing. We already set our baseline for an idle system and now we have the performance benchmark running. You can see that the dB readings have gone up accordingly. Also, you can take notice that the variable fans don't run at the same speed because one side is slightly louder than the other, and this is due to the differences in cooling requirements for the CPU and the GPU. Next, we'll also cover a test on how loud the system speakers can get. Sometimes laptops don't get as loud as others, and if you want to watch movies or do something where other people need to hear it in a room, knowing how loud the speakers can get is also a very handy reading. Now for our final segment of the full review is going to be the minor disassembly of the unit. Here we have a very uniquely designed bottom cover. On the bottom right hand side you can see the system subwoofer is showing through, and then right in the center is where we have all the air slots for the air intake for the system. Usually on high-end gaming laptops you see lots of air openings in multiple areas to help facilitate the cooling, but here we only have a few in the center, which is unusual, but the cooling system works so well that it shows that maybe focusing the airflow is actually a better idea than implementing vents everywhere. As for getting into the system, all you have to do is remove a single screw, and that will give you access to the bay door. Then we simply pry open the door and we have access to the primary upgrade components. We have our mechanical hard drive on the bottom right hand side, and then we have our solid state disks on the left side. Keep in mind when it comes to the system SSD, this is an M2 form factor using the PCI Express interface. On the system RAM side, the system supports up to a maximum of 32 gigabytes, but it comes pre-equipped with 24. If you would like to upgrade it to the full capacity, the secondary RAM slot is readily available right here in the front, while the harder to get to RAM is already installed underneath. And the last thing for us to showcase is going to be the SSD unit itself. You can remove this by taking off 4 screws, then you have access to a full-blown 2.5-inch drive. This can be a mechanical hard drive or an SSD of your choosing. And for our last feature of our review is going to be the real-life performance of our solid-state disk when it comes to booting into the operating system. And with that, we must unfortunately bring our review to a close. If you're interested in this unit and you'd like to find more information on it, then visit our website gentechpc.com. There you can find the full product specifications and the current pricing and availability. From there, if you have any other questions you'd like to ask that our review didn't answer for you, then feel free to contact us by phone or email, and we'll be happy to help you out. So we just want to remind you once again, this was Gentech PC, and we'll see you next time.